Hello, lovely to see you. I thought I'd have a little bit of a live chat this morning because I can kind of ramble on a bit in live chats, and I quite like that because it gives me a little bit of easing into my day. Although I've already gone and had some injections and some blood tests and all sorts of things this morning, and it's raining. It's raining. I mean, it hasn't stopped raining. I think there's loads of places in the UK which are flooding at the moment, which I hope everybody's okay wherever you are. I mean, it is absolutely chucking it down. It's disgusting. And I drove back from my GP, and the river is really high. And where I was taking some video last week, it's almost flooded where I was walking. So it's really been raining a lot. And I drove back through the fields, little lanes by where I live, and all the fields were flooded. And I felt sorry for the poor cows because they must be so wet. But then I'm hoping that they come in, they get brought in at night. Anyway, it's lovely to see you, and thank you for joining me. And I am going to be going later on this afternoon to a sort of charity, it's Macmillan Cancer, sort of coffee and tea and cakes and things, to raise some money for cancer research and for the hospices. And it's a fantastic charity. And I try and support sort of cancer charities as much as I can because I've had a lot of cancer in my family, and my mum died almost 2 years ago from cancer. And so did my mum's twin sister, my grandmother, both my uncles. It's sort of really on that side of the family. So I have to be very careful and get my markers checked. So I hope you're all taking good care of yourself. And I know that a lot of you have horrendous and also joyful cancer stories to share as well. It is one of those diseases that just keeps on giving, as my friend said. So I'm going there later on this afternoon. Hopefully we'll raise some money for that. So that'd be really cool. And the woman who's kind of really instrumental in that is a very young mum, and it's really sort of quite tragically sad that she went to her son's birthday party, one of her son's birthday parties a couple of weeks ago, and she knows that's going to be the last birthday party that she'll be attending of all of her children. So it's a really tragic disease, and I really feel for everybody who's been affected by it or who's going through something that's related to cancer. Yeah, so mum died a couple of years ago. Actually it was the 23rd of October, so this time 2 years ago was very sort of very strong memories in my mind about that time when she was in the hospice and how brilliant and amazing those carers were. I mean, I cannot shout out enough to all of you carers out there who not only care for people who have dementia and any kind of disease that you have to look after, where you kind of lost the person that you once knew has been lost to you because they've got dementia, or anybody who's had strokes or any debilitating diseases, Parkinson's, you name it. I mean, there are a whole host of horrendous things out there. So my hat really goes off to you carers out there who look after all of those people, because it is an incredibly exhausting, emotionally and physically exhausting job, and you're like angels on earth. I cannot thank you enough. I mean, thank you so much. And especially from my point of view with my mother, everywhere she was pretty much, apart from one particular hospital where they had some pretty, I don't know, very different to the other people I've come across, nurses and carers. Everywhere else mum went, they were absolutely exemplary, just amazing. And she, I know, was very grateful to them and left them a little bit of money in her will, the charities. So I'm just saying a big shout out to all of you who are hospice carers, living in carers, going and visiting carers, working in voluntary caring, whatever it is that you do, fantastic. So so we're going off this afternoon, or I'm going off this afternoon, making some cookies and taking my new book, which I haven't revealed yet, but hopefully I'm going to reveal it to you all next week, and you'll be able to have a look and see what I've been up to. And I'm going to be, going there this afternoon. So almost 2 years ago that mum was in the hospice, and that we were going backwards and forwards every day and sort of trying to be a little bit of light in her life, really, in her last sort of days and weeks. And it's a very sort of poignant time, I suppose. So I don't want to dwell on it, but I just wanted to sort of thank everybody out there, because I'm going off this afternoon to raise some funds, help raise some funds. And I just wanted to thank you all out there, because I know there are a lot of you who have been amazing with your members of your family, or your loved ones, or people that you, as I said, you volunteered in the community or in a home or whatever. And I'm also going to read some poetry, because I thought that would be nice on a rainy day, because poetry always cheers me up. And so I've got a happy poem to end every day book, which I've read from before, this one, and I think it's got some great poetry in it, and it's kind of sort of slightly uplifting as well. So I hope that we're going to delve into this a little bit and read a few poems as well. And I wanted to check up on you really to find out how you are and what's going on in your life at the moment. I've just heard that September here was the wettest September on record. I know that other parts of the country and other parts of the world have been having some horrendous hurricanes and storms and wildfires and all sorts of extreme things. So I would sort of, my heart goes out to all of you who are trying to cope with extreme weather and happenings at the moment, because I know that can be very stressful and very, very tricky and very difficult. So I hope that you're all safe and I hope that you're all doing okay. So that's kind of like my message to you. And as far as I'm doing with my leg problem, I really think that I sort of hit an all-time low yesterday. I was feeling so sorry for myself. But I really hope and cross my fingers that I've turned a corner. I woke up this morning feeling a lot brighter. It's amazing what some decent sleep does. And feeling a lot brighter. And yeah, the healing situation on this special kind of plaster I've got on my leg is looking a lot less disgusting than it was earlier in the week. I'm not going to go into what it looks like because it's sort of like a see-through skin, so I can kind of see what's going on underneath. But it's looking a lot better. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm on my way to recovery, which will mean that I'll be able to start running around a bit more and doing a few more sort of physical things, which I'm really looking forward to. Although I have to say the heavens have opened up this last week with rain, so I wouldn't have been able to have done much in the garden anyway. So really it's probably better that I stick to cerebral stuff and stuff at my desk and get things sorted that I need to sort out. So let's have a look and see what poetry we're going to read today. I've chosen a couple of poems from my book. I have to say I do find these paint swatch things really good bookmarkers. I was trying to choose a colour for my front door and I've got a couple of really nice ones. Well, I think they're nice. And so I'm using them for my bookmarkers and I really like them. They're really cool. Anyway, I'm now going to read to you from my book, and it's just a little poem by Emily Dickinson, and it's called How Happy is the Little Stone. And the reason I'm reading that is because my friend has been staying with me and he's just in the process of buying a little cottage, a little house down in Cornwall, and it's got a Cornish name, but the translation is Little Pebble. I thought that was so sweet. The translation of his cottage, Little Pebble. So when I saw this, How Happy is the Little Stone, I thought I would read it in honour of his little pebble house. How happy is the little stone that rambles in the road alone and doesn't care about careers and exurgencies never fears, whose coat of elemental brown a passing universe put on, and independent as the sun, associates or glows alone, fulfilling absolute decree in casual simplicity. Well, I think that's really sweet. How happy is the little stone that rambles in the road alone and doesn't care about careers and exigencies never fears, whose coat of elemental brown a passing universe put on, and independent as the sun associates or glows alone, fulfilling absolute decree in casual simplicity. That's a good one, isn't it? Emily Dickinson there. I love Emily Dickinson. I don't have any of her poetry books, but I've got lots of her poems that crop up in all the anthologies and stuff I've got. I must order a couple of her of complete poems or something, because I do like a good female voice, I have to say. So the next poem I'm going to read is in honour of my puppy that I haven't got yet and I haven't heard anything about yet. So again, fingers crossed for that. I've been very anxious about him, and I did email the breeder yesterday evening, so I'm hoping that I'm going to hear something today. I think the vet was going to have a look at him today and check him out to make sure that he was okay to come to me. But you never know, it could not work out. So I'm trying not to hold up my expectations too high, but happy healing vibes to my lovely little puppy, and I hope that that does work out. So I found this little poem. It's called Dog, and it is written by Harold Monroe, who I have not heard of, but maybe some of you will know who Harold Monroe is. You little friend, your nose is ready, you sniff, asking for what expected walk, your nostrils full of the happy rabbit whiff, and almost talk. And so the moment becomes a moving force. Coats glide down from their pegs in the humble dark. You scamper the stairs, your body informed with the scent and the track and the mark of stoats and weasels, moles and badgers and hares. We're going out! You know the pitch of the word, probably the tone of thought as it comes through fog and reaches by devious means, half smelt, half heard, the four-legged brain of a walk-ecstatic dog. A walk-ecstatic dog! Out in the garden your head is already low, you're going your walk, you know, and your limbs will draw joy from the earth through the touch of your padded paw. Now sending a little look to us behind, you follow slowly the track of your lovely play and carry our bodies forward away from mind into the light and fun of your useless day. Thus, for your walk, we took ourselves and went out by the hedge and the tree to the open ground. You ran in delightful strata of wafted scent. Beauty, over the hill without seeing the view, beauty hinted through primitive smell to you. And that ultimate beauty you track but rarely found. Home and further joy will be surely there, supper full of the lovely taste of bone. You lift up your nose again and sniff and stare for the rapture known. Of the quick wild gorge of food and the still lie down while your people talk above you in the light of candles, and your dreams will merge and drown into the bed delicious hours of night. Oh, that's so sweet. That's just what a dog's life must be, isn't it? He's captured it so well. Dogs, highlight of a dog's day. Food? Well, first of all, highlight of a dog's day. Seeing your face and having a little pat and a little reassuring wag of his tail and a little cuddle. Secondly, food. And then thirdly, open that front door and off you go out for a little walk so it can have a sniff, sniff, sniff. I was reading in my little puppy book that actually dogs get even more pleasure from just sniffing things than they do from running. So even if you go out and have a very, very slow walk, like me with my leg, for instance, where I can't really walk very far at the moment, just the dog being allowed to go and have a sniff at everything, that gives them so much pleasure. And I suppose when you think about it, if I had as many sniffing smell receptors as dogs do in my nose, then I would probably be enjoying being outside an awful lot more. Or maybe not, because you'd smell all the horrible things as well. But then dogs quite like the smell of horrible things, don't they? I mean, they like eating deer poo and things like that. In fact, I was reading in the book that if the mum is in the little sort of dog, I don't know what you call it, a lair, or a place where all the dogs sleep basically, and it's enclosed, and the puppies poo, then the mum will eat the puppy poo so that it keeps the bedding area clean for the puppies. I wouldn't do that with my children, I can assure you. Absolutely no way. Right, let's see if we can find something else. Because this book is a poem for every year, every day of the year. I'm not going to go further into autumn because I want to read something which is going to be a little bit more less miserable, less rainy out there, I think. And also for some of you guys that are living in the southern hemisphere and have spring at the moment. Spring, spring, spring. Let's have a look. Find something nice. Okay, this would be a springy type of poem for somebody. April. I give you meadowlands in April, fair with overgrowth of beautiful green grass. There among fountains the glad hours shall pass, and pleasant ladies bring you solace there. With steeds of Spain and ambling palfreys rare, provincial songs and dances that surpass, and quaint French mummings, and through hollow brass the sound of German music on the air. And gardens you shall have, and every one may lie at ease about the fragrant place, and each with fitting reverence shall bow down unto that youth to whom I have gave a crown of precious jewels, like to those that grace the Babylonian Kaiser, Prester John. Don't know what that means really. Let's find something else. Emily Bronte. Let's finish with Emily Bronte because we like female poets. So let's have a little finish with her. All day I've toiled, but not with pain. Well, hopefully that's going to be me tomorrow, and even later on today, I hope. All day I've toiled, but not with pain, in learning's golden mine, and now at eventide again the moonbeams softly shine. There is no snow upon the ground, no frost on wind or wave. The south wind blew with gentlest sound, and broke their icy grave. 'Tis sweet to wander here at night, to watch the winter die, with heart as summer sunshine light, and warm as summer sky. Oh, I may never lose the peace that lulls me gently now, though time may change my youthful face, and years may shade my brow. True to myself and true to all, may I be healthful still, and turn away from passion's call, and curb my own wild will. Don't know if I want to curb my wild will. I think I'd quite like to inflate my wild will sometimes. I think having a wild will is probably quite an exciting and interesting thing, don't you? I do. Right, I'm going to read one more poem, and then I think I shall make myself another cup of coffee. This is called To Jane, The Invitation, and let's see who it's by. It's very long. Percy Shelley. Best and brightest come away, fairer than thou fair day, which like thee to those in sorrow come to bid a sweet good morrow. To the rough year just awake, in its cradle on the break, the brightest hour of unborn spring, through the winter wandering, found it seems the Halian morn, to hoar February born. Bending from heaven in azure mirth, it kissed the forehead of the earth, and smiled upon the silent sea, and bade the frozen streams be free, and waked to music all their fountains, and breathed upon the frozen mountains. And like a prophetess of May, strewed flowers upon the barren way, making wintry world appear, like one on whom thou smilest. Dear, away, away from men and towns, to the wild wood and the downs, to the silent wilderness where the soul need not repress its music lest it should not find an echo in another's mind. While the touch of nature's art harmonises heart to heart, I leave this notice on my door for each accustomed visitor. I'm gone into the fields to take what this sweet hour yields. Reflection, you may come tomorrow. Sit by the fireside with sorrow. You with the unpaid bill despair. You tiresome verse reciter care. I will pay you in the grave. Death will listen to your stave. Expectation too, be off. Today is for itself enough. Hope in pity mock not woe, with smiles nor follow where I go. Long having lived on the sweet food, at length I find one moment's good. After long pain, with all your love, that you never told me of. Radiant sister of the day, awake, arise, and come away to the wild woods and the plains and the pools where the winter strains. Imagine all their roof of leaves, where the pine its garland weaves, of sapless green and ivy dun, round stems that never kiss the sun. Where the lawns and pastures be, and the sandhills of the sea, where the melting hoarfrost wets the daisy star that never sets, and windflowers and violets, which yet joy not sent to hue, crown the pale year weak and new. When the night is left behind, and the deep cast dun and blind, and the blue moon is over us, and the multitudinous billows murmur at our feet, where the earth and ocean meet, and all things seem only one in the universal sun. Lovely. Percy Bysshe Shelley, To Jane. That's an invitation. Right, I am going to just read one more. I'm going to leave with a woman's poem. A woman called Sarah Orne Jewett. She died in 1909, and it's called A Country Boy in Winter. This is verses 1 to 3. The wind may blow the snow about, for all I care, says Jack, and I don't mind how cold it grows, for the ice won't crack. Old folks may shiver all day long, but I shall never freeze. Who cares a jolly boy like me for winter days like these? Far down the long snow-covered hills it is such fun to coast, so clear the road and the fastest sledge there is in school I boast. The paint is pretty well worn off, and then I take the lead, a dandy sledge, a loiterer, and I go in for speed. When I go home at supper time, Kai, but my cheeks are red. They burn and sting like anything. I'm cross until I'm fed. You ought to see the biscuit go. I'm so hungry then. And old Aunt Polly says that boys eat twice as much as men. Yeah, I found that with my children actually. My boys ate so much when they were growing. It's like they just swallowed up the food as though it was kind of like air. They ate and ate and ate, and then they turned from little boys into strapping men. And it's a very strange thing. I know that girls turn into women, but somehow boys feel so soft and gentle. Well, mine were when they were young. Actually, they're quite soft and gentle now too. But then they turn into these blokes, and it's just quite a sort of metamorphosis, isn't it? And they start to smell, and then they realise that, you know, showering at least once a day is probably a good thing, and so is deodorant. Well, that's the same with girls, actually, I have to say. But yeah, everything kicks in. Hormones kick in, the whole thing kicks in, adulthood, exploring sexuality, all of that stuff. And it's a very, very tricky time for them, isn't it? Very exciting, but a very tricky time for some, and it can be very difficult. Especially those of that sort of generation that were shut away for a couple of years because of lockdown and didn't sort of integrate and have those meaningful face-to-face kind of like, you know, friendships and relationships that we all just took for granted really when we were growing up. Very different times with social media. They're very pressurised times for them, I think. And yeah, I hope that everybody out there who's going through those sorts of times, if any of you youngsters are listening, or any grandmas, grandpas, parents who are listening, I think it's really kind of important to give young people a little bit of extra leeway, actually. I mean, obviously we need boundaries, and we all thrive, I think, with boundaries. But yeah, a little bit more love and patience, because I think they had a very tough time. And I think social media as well can give them a very, very tricky run of things, because yeah, so much cyberbullying and extra pressure from all these celebrities who, unlike me, and I'm not a celebrity, but you know what I mean, these influencers and people who, unlike me, just I'm going to turn up in my lovely sloppy cozy jumpers and things, but some of them just are, I think they put a lot of pressure on youngsters to be this kind of like supermodels and things, and I think it's very, very difficult for a lot of people to kind of feel that they have to live up to that expectation, which, if any of you are listening out there, you really don't have to live up to any expectation. Just be the best you can be, and individuality is the way to go. You don't have to follow the herd. Following a herd is it's like sheep. If you follow the sheep, you'll end up falling over the cliff top, like that painting by, I think it was William Holman Hunt, when the sheep were just all falling over the cliff because everybody followed each other. Self-destruct. That's what will happen. Be your own person. Hold on to what's right for you, and really enjoy that, because that's what's really important in life. And I always say that it's the individual people, the ones who think outside the box and have those incredibly kind of different ways that their brains are wired and things that they do and achieve, are the ones that really change the world. Well, for the good and for the bad, but let's hope that we're going to focus on the good. Anyway, I'm going to go now. I'm going to go make myself a lovely cup of coffee. It's absolutely chucking it down outside still. And I hope that wherever you are, you're staying nice and warm and safe and cosy. Or hopefully you're not stuck in a hurricane or stuck in a wild situation where there's wildfires or anything treacherous like that. So please stay safe as well. And I will catch up with you another day, maybe possibly later on today or tomorrow. Lots of love. Take care. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.